That night, in the middle of a freezing rainstorm, Sofia Navarro did something most people wouldn't dare. She slammed on the brakes of her rusty silver minivan, stepped into the pouring rain, and helped a trembling old man who didn't even know his own name. She had no idea she'd be fired for it the next morning. And she definitely didn't know the truth about the stranger she saved, a truth that would flip her entire world upside down and expose something her boss hoped would stay buried forever. Before we go any further, we'd love for you to hit that subscribe button. Your support helps us bring you more inspiring stories like this one. Stories about kindness, second chances, and the moments that change everything. Sofia Navarro wasn't supposed to be out that late, but night shifts didn't care about exhaustion or empty bank accounts. She worked as the night janitor at the prestigious Horizon Medical Research Center, a place where everyone wore lab coats, except her. On that cold, relentless Tuesday, the rain came down in sheets, slapping the windshield of her minivan like angry hands. Sofia's uniform was still damp from scrubbing a flooded hallway, and she was running on 4 hours of sleep and one leftover empanada. All she wanted was to get home, crawl into bed, and forget the world for a few hours. But then she saw him, a white-haired man standing on the side of the road, no umbrella, no coat, just a soaked dress shirt clinging to shaking shoulders. He held a briefcase like it was the only thing keeping him upright. Sofia's wipers struggled to keep up as she slowed down. Something about his posture, bent, confused, almost pleading, wouldn't let her drive past. She rolled down her window just enough to shout over the storm, "Senor, are you all right? Do you need help?" The man blinked at her, squinting as if trying to make sense of the sound. Finally, in a thin, fragile voice, he whispered, I don't know where I live." That was enough. Sofia flung open her door, rain soaking her shoes instantly. "Get in! You're freezing!" He hesitated only a second before sliding into the passenger seat. The heater coughed weakly to life as Sofia studied him. His eyes were kind but lost, really lost. "What's your name?" she asked gently. He frowned. I don't remember. I'm sorry." Sofia's chest tightened. "It's okay. I've got you." And she meant it. She drove him to her tiny apartment, gave him a warm blanket, a bowl of chicken soup, and one of her ex-husband's old sweaters. By dawn, he was asleep on her couch. She wrote a note in case he woke up scared. "You're safe. I'll be back after work. Sofia." She glanced at him one last time before leaving. Something about him felt important, but she had no idea how important. Sofia rushed into the medical center 10 minutes late, still smelling faintly of rain and chicken soup. Her boss, Dr. Leonard Briggs, a man who treated every janitor like a smudge on the floor, was already waiting. "Sofia, late again? Unacceptable." "I'm sorry, Dr. Briggs. No excuses. Pack your things. You're done." The hallway fell silent. 2 nurses stared. A security guard stopped mid-step. Sofia felt her cheeks burn. "Sir, please. I was helping." Briggs raised a hand sharply. "I don't pay you to help strangers. I pay you to be on time." He turned his back and walked away. Just like that, after 6 loyal years, she was fired. Tears burned behind her eyes, but she stood tall. She wasn't going to give him the satisfaction. She gathered her mop, her gloves, her little radio, and walked out the front doors into the drizzle. Across the street, under a dark umbrella, the old man, the one from last night, watched her. His eyes weren't confused anymore. They were sharp, focused, almost furious. An hour later, the medical center buzzed with tension. A black sedan pulled up. Out stepped the same old man, suit pressed, hair combed, briefcase polished. He looked nothing like the lost soul Sophia had rescued. Nurses straightened, doctors whispered, then someone gasped, "Is that Mr. Hawthorne?" Elias Hawthorne, founder of the Hawthorne Institute, major donor to Horizon Medical Research Center, a man whose name could make or break entire hospitals. He walked straight to the front desk. "Where is Dr. Briggs?" he asked calmly, tapping the briefcase. Minutes later, Briggs came hurrying down the hall, pale and sweaty. "Mr. Hawthorne, what an honor, sir. If I'd known you were..." Hawthorne held up the note Sophia left on her table. His voice was stone. "You fired the woman who saved my life." Briggs stuttered. "Saved your life?" "I wandered off last night during a memory lapse. Sophia brought me in, fed me, kept me safe, treated me like a human being when I didn't even know my own name." Briggs swallowed hard. Hawthorne stepped closer, lowering his voice. "That's more kindness than I've received from this building in years." Then he opened the briefcase, pulled out documents, and dropped them onto Briggs's chest. "I'm withdrawing every cent of my funding, effective immediately." The hallway exploded in whispers. Briggs collapsed into a chair, stunned. Hawthorne wasn't done. "And you," he said coldly, "are relieved of your position. I suggest security escort you out." The two guards didn't hesitate. Briggs protested, but no one listened. For the first time, the staff saw who had truly been running the place, and how cruelly. Hawthorne found Sophia sitting on a bench outside, clutching her last paycheck, 82.47. "Miss Navarro," he said softly. She looked up, startled. You're the man from last night." He smiled gently. "I am, and I remember everything now." She blinked. "Everything?" He nodded. "I was diagnosed with early onset memory loss last year. Episodes come and go. Last night, you saved me." Sophia looked away, embarrassed. "I just did what anyone would..." "No," he said firmly. "Not anyone. You." He handed her an envelope. Inside, a brand new contract, a salary she'd never dreamed of, a position title that made her hands tremble, Director of Patient Compassion and Care Initiatives, full benefits, company vehicle, future training fully paid. Sophia stared at him, speechless. "I want this medical center to become what you showed me last night," Hawthorne explained. "Human, warm, kind. I want you to teach my staff what it means to care." Her voice cracked. "But I'm just a janitor." Hawthorne shook his head. "You are the heart this place has been missing." Tears spilled over. She covered her mouth with her hands, overwhelmed. People exiting the building paused, watching the moment unfold, a moment that felt bigger than all of them. Months later, the medical center stood transformed. Patients smiled. Staff greeted each other with warmth. Compassion replaced cold procedure. And at the center of it all, Sophia Navarro, once invisible, now led the programs everyone admired. One evening, as she walked to her car, she spotted a familiar figure sweeping the sidewalk near a strip mall. Dr. Briggs. His shoulders were slumped. His name tag read, "Temporary Worker." For a moment, she just watched him, the man who'd fired her without a second thought. Then Sophia stepped forward. Quiet, calm, steady, she handed him a sealed envelope. "What's this?" Briggs muttered. Sophia smiled kindly. Something with your name on it. She walked away before he opened it. Inside was a receipt showing a donation made under his name to a support foundation for medical workers struggling with mental health and burnout. Attached was a handwritten note. "You once took my dignity. I want you to have a second chance to find your own. Sophia." Briggs stared at the paper, throat tight, and at the... Sophia stepped into her car, exhaled deeply and whispered, "Some storms you walk through, some storms you help someone else survive." If this story moved you, please subscribe to The Day Everything Changed. Every week, we bring you real inspired stories of compassion, redemption, and the quiet moments that shape our lives. And in the comments, tell us, have you ever helped someone or been helped at the exact moment you needed it most?